adverse drug reactions and its monitoring. That is a word about the pharmacovigilance. So the objectives of today's class, will discuss about adverse drug reactions regarding their definition and classification and mechanisms of the adverse drug reaction. Also, regarding the pharmacovigilance, that is the adverse drug reaction monitoring and reporting, we'll deal with the detection of adverse drug reaction, reporting of adverse drug reaction, the analysis of adverse drug reaction, that is the causality assessment, followed by the prevention of adverse drug reaction. So, how we can prevent the adverse drug reactions. So, we are already aware, the clinicians and patients, we know about the importance of the drugs, and clinicians and patients, they acknowledge the major role which is played by the drugs in the modern healthcare. So we are all aware about the importance of use of drugs in modern healthcare system. So understanding how the drug affects the body homeostasis at the molecular level, this serves the foundation for developing new therapeutic agents. So a better understanding about how the drug affects the body homeostasis, this will give us the basis for understanding and for developing new therapeutic agents, and this will also provide the basis for the rational pharmacotherapy. Now, we know that drugs, they exert their beneficial effects, but at the same time, drug will also cause the adverse drug reaction. This is very well known to us. So along with the beneficial effects, we are also going to observe that the drug also causes certain adverse drug reactions. Now, this is the very important therapeutic dilemma that we are facing, that along with beneficial effects, we also have to face the adverse drug reactions of the drugs. And this leads to the credence to a statement that we need to realize that there are no absolutely safe biologically active agent. So all biological active agent, we are analyzing these agents to see the biological activity. We have the preclinical studies, we have the clinical studies. So all this, we are able to acknowledge that this is the active agent, but we have to be sure that there is no absolutely safe biological active agent. That means some amount of the adverse drug reactions are expected from many of the compounds which are analyzed for the biological active ingredient. That we are doing the preclinical studies, animal studies, we are doing the clinical studies, that is we are doing the clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, and also in the post-marketing surveillance. So it is expected that drug will have the beneficial effect. Along with that, drug will also have the adverse drug reactions. So a study of the adverse drug reaction, it is concerning the field of the pharmacovigilance. So we can see in this that introduction of a drug, it plays a very important role in modern healthcare. This is very well known fact to the clinicians as well as to the patients. As well as we are also aware that the drug produces beneficial effect, also it will cause the adverse drug reaction. Also, we know that the safety of a drug is important, and how this drug affects the body homeostasis at the molecular level. This also serves the foundation for developing a new therapeutic agents for the treatment of different diseases, and this forms a basis for the rational pharmacotherapy. And when we study these adverse drug reactions, they come under the field of the pharmacovigilance. Now, this is the data of the American Medical Association, and incidence rates of adverse drug reactions which occur after administration of the FDA approved drugs. So this kind of a data has come up, that is the occurrence of the adverse drug, incidence of the adverse drug reactions is about 1 in 123, that is about 2.2 million per year and that comes to the level of 4 adverse drug reactions occurring per minute. And if we extrapolate the death rate from these adverse drug reaction, it comes to about 12 per hour. So the incidence, the term incidence, it refers to the annual diagnosis rate. So number of the new cases of adverse drug reactions which are diagnosed each year. So we can see that the adverse drug reactions, they constitute to be the 4th leading cause of death after the pulmonary diseases, then the death due to the AIDS and due to the accident. So after that, the death due to the adverse drug reaction, it is estimated to be the 4th leading cause of the death. So this is the idea and the importance. From this data, we get the idea that how the importance of this adverse drug reactions is there, and how we can also, we have ways and means to monitor these adverse drug reactions, and we have means to cause the prevention of the adverse drug reactions. Now here you can see very well, this is already known to you, the phases of new drug development. We have the phases of the clinical trials, that is phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. And following this, in phase 4, we have the post-marketing surveillance. And before this clinical trial, we have one phase that is known as the preclinical stage of the study. And in preclinical studies, what we do is agent which is having a biological activity, we are trying to test it in the animals. So animal studies are done during the preclinical testing, and the safety of the drug and the biological activity of that drug is delineated. And about a large number of compounds, they are evaluated, about 5,000 to 10,000 agents, and we try to get the 5 to 10 biological agents which are having the activity. These are then introduced into for the undergoing the phases of the different clinical trial, that is phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. So we see that before the phases of the clinical trial, we have a period which is known as the preclinical phase, and during which animal toxicity studies, animal studies, different studies for safety of the drug, these are evaluated. Then you have the phase 1 and 2 and 3. This is the phases of clinical trial, or it is also known as the pre-marketing phase, isn't it? Because it is just before the marketing of the drug. Once the drug undergoes the phase 1, 2 and 3 phase of the clinical trial, then what happens? The pharmaceutical company, then it applies for the new drug application in the FDA. So then if the FDA or the agency, which is the regulatory authority, if they see that the drug is okay and it can be given to the patients, it can be used in a large scale. So then they give the approval for the drug at the end of the phase 3. So we know the NDA, that is the new drug application, which is the thing which is decided at the end of the phase 3. Then before this, when we do the preclinical studies, that is before the clinical trial, we have the animal studies. During this, we do the IND, that is the investigational new drug, isn't it? So this application is given by the pharmaceutical company, and then you get the approval for the conducting the clinical trial. So IND is at the preclinical stage, and during the clinical trial, during the pre-marketing stage, that is clinical trial phase, that is phase 1, 2 and 3, and at the end of 3 we have the NDA application. So then any drug which is approved by the FDA, then this is launched in the market, and then we have the phase 4. So this is the phase, that is the post-marketing surveillance. So all this period, the preclinical studies, animal studies, they are conducted for about 3 to 6 years. Then again, these clinical trials, they are conducted about 5 to 9 years. And then the phase 4 post-marketing surveillance, this is an ongoing study which goes on and to check for any new adverse drug reaction, or the primary objective we want to see any rare adverse effect reaction or any drug interaction. When it is in the real field situation, we want to see when it is launched in the market, so how it is behaving and how the drug we can analyze. So we can see that the whole life of the drug, we have to be very watchful, because whole life of the drug, that is right from preclinical studies, you are doing the animal studies, there also you are checking the safety. Then in phase 1, 2 and 3, you're saying the checking, even confirming the safety as well as efficacy. And at the end of phase 3, you are getting some few adverse drug reaction, because the number of subjects is very few thousand subjects, about less than 5,000 subjects. You are giving the drug and you get some amount of the adverse drug reaction. These adverse drug reactions are noted in the package insert of the drug. You get the package insert of the drug. So few adverse drug reaction is already noted there. So with this, we can understand that there is a little limitation of the drug development framework. What is that limitation? The limitation is you are having an idea about few adverse drug reaction, and by that time you have to introduce into the market at the end of the phase 3. And isn't it? Because you have no choice, you have to, because the pharmaceutical company has invested a lot of its finances on the development of the drug and the studies in the subjects, as well as in the healthy volunteers, as well as in the animal studies. So a long process, long number of years have passed, and there is a system when he introduces the drug in the market, so he has to make the returns also, isn't it? So all this time he has invested, now he wants the return. So during that period, when the drug is introduced at the end of the phase 3, we can understand that this is a little limitation of the drug development framework. That drug is introduced and into the market, and many of the rare adverse drug reactions and many of the important adverse drug reactions, they are not known as yet, because in the real field situation, when it is introduced, then we can get some new adverse drug reaction. Certain rare adverse drug reactions are reported during the post-marketing surveillance. So this happens to be a little limitation of the drug development framework, and this is here that we need to be careful. So the whole life of the drug has to be watched, that is right from preclinical, then the phases of the clinical trial, and then at the post-marketing surveillance. This we have to do. And at the same time, we have to be watchful that we have to do the monitoring. And this is the importance, that monitoring of adverse, this is the need that we need to do the monitoring and reporting of the adverse drug reaction, because at the end of the phase 3, when the drug is being launched in the market, we still are not aware that what new adverse effect, what rare adverse effects can take place, because the study that we have done in the subjects, those subjects, we have also excluded many patients, few patients who are susceptible, like the elderly patients or pregnant women or the children, we have excluded them. So in the real field situation, when we are doing the post-marketing surveillance, there is a very active need for the monitoring of the adverse drug reaction. So I hope you have understood that what is the importance of this understanding of the different chronology of testing and the introduction of the new drug. So why the importance of the monitoring is there? Because of we have understood that what is the limitation of this drug development process, and that we cannot help but we monitor, so that new adverse drug reactions, drug interactions, and all this information can come to us, and the whole life of the drug has to be watched, right from the preclinical, then clinical, as well as the post-marketing area. So now we know what is adverse drug reaction, what is adverse drug effect, or the adverse drug event. So these definitions are asked. Adverse drug reaction is a response to a drug which is noxious and unintended, and that which occurs at doses which are normally used in man for the prophylaxis, diagnosis, or therapy of a disease. So this definition was given by the WHO in 1972. And what do we mean by response to a drug? Response to a drug means there is a causal relationship between the therapeutic agent and the adverse drug reaction. There is a reasonable possibility, and this is known as response to a drug. So causal relationship between the drug and the adverse drug reaction. If this is proven and if it is a reasonable possibility, then this is known as a response to a drug. So meaning of the word response to a drug. Then what is adverse drug effect or the adverse drug event? Now, adverse drug effect, it refers to any injury which is occurring at the time a drug is used, whether or not it is identified as the cause of the injury. So here the causal relationship is not important. When it is adverse drug reaction, the causal relationship is important because drug and the effect, if you are able to prove it that there is a causal relationship, then this is an adverse drug reaction. If there is no adverse, if you are not able to identify the causal relationship, but at the time the drug is used, the injury has taken place, then this is known as an adverse drug event. So meaning thereby that is, what we do is we try to get all the adverse drug event, and from this adverse drug event, we try to get the causal relationship, and we can prove that this is an adverse drug reaction and this is an adverse drug event. If the causal relationship is proven, then we say this is an adverse drug reaction. Or if the causal relation is not identified, then it is known as a adverse drug event. So how this you can understand? A very simple example is there. Like your drug antihistaminics, the antihistaminic drug is given to the patient, and this patient, he develops sedation, or there is a little bit of drowsiness. So this sedation is the adverse drug reaction of the antihistaminic drug. But now this patient, he is on antihistaminic, but he goes out on his scooter and he goes on the road and he has an accident. He falls down. So this is the adverse drug event. That means he has got a fall on the road. He has come across an accident. Now this accident has taken place, but we do not know why the accident has taken place. So if the drug history is taken, then we come to know that antihistaminic was there in the drug history. Then we can correlate that. So this becomes an adverse drug event. So I hope I have made it very clear. So what is an adverse drug reaction and what is an adverse drug event? So we can understand that adverse drug reactions are a special type of the adverse drug event in which a causative relationship has been established, isn't it? Because adverse drug reaction also is an adverse drug event only, but you have delineated a causal relationship. So causative relationship has been shown, and therefore we can say this is an adverse drug reaction. And if the causative relation is not shown, then you can place it as an adverse drug event. So the grading of the adverse drug reaction takes place according to the onset of the event. The adverse drug reaction can take place promptly. So it can be acute within 60 minutes, or it can take place after prolonged use of the drug, or it can take place after stopping of the therapy. So it can occur acute, it is less than 60 minutes. If it is subacute, then it is between 1 to 24 hours. And if it is more than, if the adverse drug reaction occurs later, it is latent, then it occurs after 2 to 3 days. So the adverse drug reaction can take place promptly, or it can take place after some time of stopping the drug, or it can take place at a later stage. The severity of the adverse drug reactions are mild, moderate, and severe. Mild, moderate, severe, and also it can be lethal. So the adverse drug reaction, it can range from mild, moderate to severe illness, and the adverse drug reaction can also lead to the permanent disability. It can lead to prolonged hospitalization, or it can also lead to the death of the patient. Now coming to the classification of the adverse drug reaction. This is one thing we need to understand. That is, we can classify them for a better understanding, so that we can understand the mechanism also of the adverse drug reaction. We can classify them in a simple classification, that type A, type B, type C, type D, type E, and type F type of the adverse drug reactions. This type A adverse reaction can be further subdivided into the side effects, secondary effects, and the toxic effects. Then the type B or the Bizarre reactions, they can be further subdivided so that we can understand them better. So they can be classified into the allergic reactions and the idiosyncratic reactions. So the type B or the Bizarre reactions, type A are the predictable adverse drug reactions. These are dose related adverse drug reactions, whereas type B, these are unpredictable adverse drug reactions, and they are not dose related. So the type B or the Bizarre adverse drug reaction, they are also known as the allergic reactions or the idiosyncratic reactions. Now, among these allergic and the idiosyncratic reaction, allergic reactions are immunologically mediated, as you know, and the idiosyncratic reactions, they are again genetically mediated. So this is an abnormal type of reaction, and it is many times it is the genetically mediated. So the best example of idiosyncratic reaction is like primaquine is a drug, and it causes hemolysis in the G6PD deficient patients. Or a better example could be, barbiturates, they cause sedation, but in some patients, they will cause the excitement. So these are classical examples. Now coming to this allergic reaction, we are having type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4 reactions. Type 1 is the anaphylactic reaction. Here what happens is you're having the drug, and drug induces the production, it acts as an antigen, it induces the production of antibodies. These IgE antibodies are produced, and antigen antibodies, these are there, which are there on the mast cells. There occurs degranulation of the mast cells, and there is release of the inflammatory mediators like the histamine, prostaglandins, platelet activating factors. So this may lead to the anaphylactic reaction, which are characterized by the edema, laryngeal edema, there is bronchospasm. So all this, and the classical examples are penicillin and lignocaine. Then cytolytic reactions, same antigen antibody complexes, they are formed. They react, they activate the complement system. So they are targeting the complement system, and because of this, there occurs cytolysis. So we have anemia occurring due to the carbamazepine or phenytoin. So this explains the cytolytic reactions. Then there is Arthur's type of reaction. In this, antigen antibody complexes, they are formed, but this will now target the vessels, blood vessels. So inflammatory reaction on the blood vessels take place, leading to the vasculitis. And the good example is serum sickness. This is characterized by fever. There is arthralgia, nephritis, then Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and the toxic epidermal necrolysis. Stevens-Johnson syndrome and toxic epidermal necrolysis, this is one of the most severe forms. And both are type of reaction which involves the mucocutaneous area, and the examples of drugs causing this type of reaction is sulfonamides. Then we come to the type 4 reaction. This is the delayed hypersensitivity reaction. And here we have more involvement of the T lymphocytes and the macrophages. And what happens is this production of the lymphokines. And these will lead to T cell mediated contact dermatitis. This is basically seen with the nurses and doctors who are handling the penicillin, or they're handling the local anesthetics. So this is a type of the delayed hypersensitivity reaction. So this classification of adverse drug reaction and the mechanisms involved, we are seeing how the occurrence of these adverse drug reactions take place. So we have seen that the types of adverse drug reactions, they are augmented. Augmented are ones which are dose related and they are predictable. Bizarre reactions are ones which are non-dose related and they are unpredictable. And so we have understood this. So the augmented reactions, they are related to the pharmacological actions of the drug, whereas the bizarre reactions, they are unrelated to the primary pharmacological action of the drug. So this is the difference between these two. Then we have the chronic adverse drug reactions, which are dose related as well as time related. So this is because of continuous use or chronic use of a drug, and the best example is chloroquine induced retinopathy. So long term use of chloroquine ultimately resulting in retinopathy. So this is a best example of chronic adverse drug reaction. Then we have the delayed or the time related adverse drug reaction. These occurs after prolonged use of the drug, and after prolonged use of a drug, you are getting a drug reaction, adverse drug reaction, which is delayed. That means after stopping the drug, at a later stage, you are getting the adverse drug reaction. So the best example is the teratogenic effect of the drugs, because this is seen as a delayed effect or delayed adverse drug reaction. Then end of use of a drug. End of type E is the end of use of drug or the withdrawal adverse drug reaction. And these adverse drug reaction, they occur on discontinuation of a drug therapy. So sudden discontinuation of a drug therapy, then this can lead to the withdrawal symptoms. So the best example of this is the occurrence or precipitation of angina pectoris or occurrence of the myocardial infarction after sudden withdrawal of the beta blocker. And last but not the least, there is a type F type of the adverse drug reaction, and this is failure or the unexpected failure of the therapy. This is also coming under class of the adverse drug reaction. In some of the texts it is given. And what does this mean? This means that a drug undesirably, either it increases or decreases the efficacy of the drug. And the best example is decrease in efficacy of the antibiotic drugs, antimicrobial agent, because of the development of resistance. So you have unexpected, you are giving the antimicrobial therapy, but you are not getting the efficacy, and there is the failure of the therapy. So this also comes under the type of the this in some of the texts is also included in the type of the adverse drug reaction. So we have type A, type B, type C. We have seen type A, type B, type C, type D, type E, and also the type F type of the adverse drug reaction. We have seen the allergic reactions. We have seen different examples of the allergic reaction, type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4. And we have also seen the idiosyncratic reaction. Then we have seen the type C, which is a chronic, dose related and time related. Type D, that is delayed, that is after stoppage of the drug therapy, we are getting the teratogenic effects of drug. Good example is the drug stilbosterol. Long time back, this is a synthetic estrogen, and this estrogen was earlier used for treating the miscarriages during the pregnancy. So when it was used, it was not known, but after a period of 20 years, there is development of the vaginal carcinoma in the teenage offspring, female offspring. So this type of adverse drug reactions have been reported, and this is a historical example of a drug like stilbosterol, or example of a delayed type of the adverse drug reaction. So much so that the adverse drug reaction is being, and these how can we correlate? We are all coming to know this information because of the this studies, the epidemiological studies which are there, case control studies, cohort studies. So once we get this, when the correlation is done, then we are getting this information that how pregnant women, for treating the miscarriage, you gave the stilbosterol, which is a synthetic estrogen, and after 20 years, the teenage female offspring develops the vaginal carcinoma. So such is the report. So these are certain interesting examples. And end of use, we have seen the withdrawal reactions, that is on sudden discontinuation of a drug, you are getting a development of the precipitation of myocardial infarction and angina pectoris because of withdrawal of the beta blocker. These are all because of the adaptive changes, once the drugs are given, the adaptive changes takes place, and because of that, when the drug is suddenly withdrawn, we get those adverse drug reactions. So now let us see the type A, the augmented reaction. In this we have already discussed. We know that type A, augmented reaction, we are getting side effects, secondary effects, and toxic effects, isn't it? So let us also discuss this. So side effects. Now, what is side effect? You know, all these definitions are asked in the exam. So you must be very clear what is a side effect. It is a unwanted effect of a drug, and it is seen with the therapeutic dose of a drug. So unwanted effect of a drug seen with therapeutic dose of a drug. And the best example here, you can see the hypoglycemia, which is caused by the insulin, or bleeding, which is caused by warfarin. So these are all side effects, unwanted effect, which are seen with therapeutic dose of a drug. Then secondary effect. Now, what is this secondary effect? Secondary effect is an indirect consequence of the primary drug action. So secondary effect is something secondary, or it is an indirect consequence of a primary drug action. So you know very well broad spectrum antibiotics, and you're using them, and the patient, you're getting the super infection, you know, the Clostridium difficile associated pseudomembranous enterocolitis. This is occurring because of use of broad spectrum antibiotics. So super infection, and again you have to treat this super infection. So this is a type of adverse drug reaction which is a secondary effect. It is an indirect consequence of the primary drug action, isn't it? Then the third is the toxic effect. What is toxic effect? Now toxic effect will be seen with the higher dose. So in overdose, you will see the toxic effect, and this toxic effect is also very serious. So you can see the best example is morphine, which is causing respiratory depression in overdose, not in therapeutic dose, but in the overdose. So you get the respiratory depression occurring because of the overdosage with the morphine. So this type A, or the augmented reactions, these reactions, you know, these are very common adverse drug reactions. You must remember that the augmented reactions or the type A reactions are very common adverse drug reactions. At the same time, they are predictable adverse drug reaction. Third, they are dose-related adverse drug reaction. One side effect is taking place in therapeutic dose. Toxic effect is taking place in a higher dose. So you can see that they are dose-related. They are predictable. You can predict because you know this is the known pharmacological action of the drug. You know insulin causes hypoglycemia very well, isn't it? You know that warfarin will cause bleeding. So this is the known pharmacological action of the drug. You know very well. So you can see what is the characteristic of the type A reaction, that it is the most common reaction. It is predictable. You can predict it because you know the known pharmacological action of the drug. It is dose related, and it is reversible. So how you will reversible? How you will make this reaction reversible? You can either reduce the dose, it will be reversible, or you can stop the drug, then it will be reversible. So these are the properties of the augmented reactions. Now type B is the Bézier reaction. Actually this presentation I have made for one of the guest lectures, so I had to put some diagrams to make it little interesting. So I think you also will find it interesting, and remember that what is this Bézier reaction. Now you can see this type B, that is Bézier reaction. The name itself suggests that it is an abnormal effect of the drug. So drug, it is having an abnormal effect, and if you see in Bézier reaction, I have discussed that allergic reaction and idiosyncratic reaction, these come under the Bézier reaction. So allergic reaction and idiosyncratic reaction. So these two things you can keep in mind, that they come under the type B or the Bézier reaction. These are abnormal effects of the drug. They are unrelated from the drug's known pharmacological action. You know the drug has certain known pharmacological action. This is your knowledge of the dynamics, pharmacokinetics of the drug, isn't it? But this reaction which take place, it has nothing to do, it is unrelated. It has no relation with the drug's known pharmacological action. It is an abnormal effect of the drug. You are not able to explain how did it took place. So this is a Bézier type of reaction. So this is an unpredictable adverse drug reaction. So augmented reactions are predictable, but Bézier reactions are unpredictable. So these are unpredictable reactions, adverse drug reactions. They are abnormal effects of the drug. They are unrelated from the drug's known pharmacological action. They are less common. You saw the augmented reaction, they are more common, I told you, isn't it? But these Bézier reactions, they are less common, and they are not tolerated, and they are either idiosyncratic reaction which are genetically determined, or they could be allergic reaction which are immunologically mediated. So now let us, now we have an idea what is the difference between type A and type B. Now we can see that we have seen that the type A, I have told you that this is the augmented reactions, isn't it? And type B, these are the bizarre reactions. So the type A is an augmented response, but this is a normal response. Whereas type B, this is a abnormal response we are telling, but this is a bizarre. This is not normal, this is abnormal, and it is a bizarre response, isn't it? So this is the nature of the adverse drug reaction. That is the mechanism based adverse drug reaction. That is, type A is dependent on the pharmacological property of the drug, isn't it? Type A reaction is depending on the pharmacological action of the drug. Whereas type B, if you see, it is abnormal, it is depending upon the peculiarities of the patient. Is it clear? So type A is depending on the pharmacological action of the drug, and type B is depending on the peculiarities of the patient. Then if you see the mechanism of the adverse drug reaction, type A is a kind of hyper response, whereas type B, it is either genetically mediated or it is either there's an immunological basis. So either it is an allergic reaction or it is an idiosyncratic reaction. Then if you see the predictability of the type A reaction, this is predictable, whereas type B, it is not predictable. So unpredictable adverse drug reactions are type B, whereas predictable adverse drug reactions are the type A. Then we know very well this is a dose dependent adverse drug reaction. The type A is dose dependent because it is, you are having, in therapeutic dose you are having side effect, in overdose you are getting the toxic effect. So dose can explain. Whereas type B, even with a small dose you are getting. So dose has nothing to do with the type B reaction. So allergic reaction, even a small dose of the drug causes the allergic reaction. So this is how this is the difference. Then if you see the incidence of the type A reaction, I told you these are very common adverse drug reactions. So there is a high incidence of the augmented reaction because it is more common. Whereas type B, it is not so common. It is not common. So it is having low incidence. So it is not common. If you see the mortality on the other hand, the mortality due to the augmented reaction is low, whereas the mortality due to the bizarre reaction, which is unpredictable adverse drug reaction, it is high. And how you treat the augmented reaction, you can do some dose adjustment, then the situation comes in control. Whereas in bizarre reaction, you have to stop the drug. So I hope you have understood very clearly. And many times adverse drug reaction comes as a full question in the theory paper, remember? So all these points you can remember, and you can recollect all these examples. These are classical examples, never to be forgotten. So you can see adverse drug reactions, how you can describe, in this way you can describe the types A, B, C, D, E. There's many stories you can tell. If the full question comes, you can very well deal with these different types. Then if the augmented reaction, bizarre reaction, how you can differentiate, then what is side effect, secondary effect, toxic effect. Then you can write something about the allergic reaction, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. Everything is discussed very clearly. Type 1 is anaphylactic reaction, type 2 is cytolytic, type 3 is Arthur's type reaction, and type 4 is the delayed hypersensitivity. And you can elaborate and give the classical examples. Idiosyncratic also I have discussed that. Examples, classical example like the example of primaquine in G6PD patients and excitement occurring due to the barbiturates. So all this. So this way you can, elaborate on the thing, different examples. These are all classical examples. Then bizarre reactions, then comparison between type A and type B. Now coming to this allergic reactions and drugs which are frequently causing the allergic reaction. So these are the drugs, penicillin, cephalosporins, you are very much aware, sulfonamides, tetracyclines, they are causing these allergic reactions. And aspirin, indomethacin, ACE inhibitors, hydralazine, local anesthetics. So all these drugs, they cause the allergic reaction. And we have seen the cardinal features of the allergic reaction, that The manifestations of the allergic reaction, they are unrelated to the pharmacodynamic actions of the drug. You know the pharmacodynamic actions of the drug, you know the kinetics of the drug, but the allergic reaction manifestations, they are unrelated to the pharmacodynamic action of the drug. And so different characteristics, manifestations are there. They will manifest as a normal allergic reaction like food allergy, and they are not dose related, as well as severity of reaction is not dose related, as well as there is a classical thing of positive de-challenge and positive re-challenge. That means on stopping of the drug, the reaction stops, and if you again do the re-challenge, then the reaction occurs even with a small dose. So these are certain characteristics of the allergic reactions. So there are other forms of adverse drug reactions also. We know about the phototoxic reactions, acute phototoxicity occurring with tetracycline, then with sulfonamides, and photoallergic occurring with the sulfonylureas and chloroquine. So photosensitivity, you know, the skin, the cutaneous reactions are taking place on the skin because the skin is sensitized, and the drug has sensitized the skin to the UV radiation. So because of that, you are getting cutaneous reactions. Then a drug intolerance. Drug intolerance, the adverse drug reaction is taking place. This occurrence is taking place in therapeutic dose, and it is occurring in susceptible individuals. Like in children, you are getting triflupromazine. Single dose will lead to the muscular dystonia. So such classical examples are there, which can describe the different examples of drug intolerance. That is, appearance of the toxic effects occur in an individual, in a susceptible individual, in the toxic effect is occurring in therapeutic dose. So this is known as drug intolerance. For that matter, you may remember that drug intolerance, idiosyncrasy, and allergic reactions, these occur in the susceptible individuals. They occur in few patients. Whereas if you see the overdose or excessive uh, actions or toxic actions, these are seen in large number of patients. Whereas drug intolerance and allergic manifestations, idiosyncratic reactions, they occur in few patients. Then iatrogenic diseases, these are the prescriber-induced diseases, and these occur because drug has been used for some time, and after withdrawing, after stopping the drug also, the patient has the peptic ulcer because of the NSAIDs, because of the damage caused by the NSAIDs, or another example is hepatitis caused by the INH. So such examples are there. Then we have drug dependence, drug addiction. You know, the drug withdrawal symptoms are there. These are drugs by which repeated use of the drug gives a euphoria. So all these individuals, they have a habit of taking the drug again and again. So drug dependence is an example of the, you have the this physical dependence by drugs like opioids. And why it is taking place? Because if even with the alcohol, the drug dependence is there, physical dependence is there, because withdrawal symptoms take place as soon as patient does not get the drug. So there is always the need for taking the drug. Then again, we have drug addiction. Drug addiction is more of the psychological dependence, that is taking the drug, that becomes the sole intention of the patient, and till the time he takes the drug, he does not get the satisfaction. So with drugs like amphetamine, then LSD, so these drugs give more of the psychological dependence. Then drug withdrawal reactions, we have seen already that worsening of the angina or the precipitation of myocardial infarction because sudden stoppage of the beta blockers. And this basically, why they are taking place, these manifestations are taking place because of the adaptive changes, because drugs you are giving for a longer period of time, you are giving the beta blockers. So certain adaptive changes take place at the level of the receptors. And because of this, what you should do is you must do gradual withdrawal of the drug in such cases. And last but not the least, mutagenicity and carcinogenicity. Now, some drugs, they can affect the genetic function, and they can cause genetic defects, as well as they can cause the cancers. So the examples of anti-cancer drugs or use of estrogens, tobacco, so all these can lead to the mutagenicity and carcinogenicity. Now this teratogenicity is one where we can see that the United States FDA, they have given certain category of drugs like category A, B, C, D and X. Now they have categorized them as they have graded the risks for causing the birth defects into the 5 categories. So the birth defects can take place uh, when you are using different type of drugs. So the safest drug will be the category A drug, and whereas the drug which is contraindicated would be the drug category of the X drug. So the A category drug, you can see this in the women, the studies have failed to demonstrate risks to the fetus. So that is example is chloroquine. And drug B, you can see risks is not confirmed in the humans, but animal studies have shown some teratogenic potential. Drugs, the category C is teratogenic in animal, but inadequate human data. And the D is one that evidence of risks in humans, but benefit in the mother. So this is a relative contraindicated drug. You know, phenytoin is very useful for the, if the mother is epileptic. So that way we can weigh the pros and cons, and this different type of categories based on the risks in the birth defects. We can categorize the different drugs. The FDA has given this type of categorization. And we cannot forget the thalidomide tragedy, which took place in 1960. And this was basically thalidomide, you know very well. This is one of the non-barbiturate sedative drug which was available at that time. And in 1957 in Germany, this was used. And the report started coming around 1959 that in some parts of the Europe, that the rare birth defects have taken place, and uh, the changes in the fetus gave rise to birth of the child with the seal limbs. Seal limbs, it looks like the flippers of the seal. So there is either the shortening of the limb or there is total absence of the limbs. So because of this tragedy, uh, following the release of the thalidomide, and this was at that time available as a OTC, over-the-counter remedy. So people were taking it and they were not aware, and it was promoted as to be very safe drug. But all this tragedy has led to the beginning of the rigorous drug approval and the monitoring system, which was given by the federal agency, that is the US Food and Drug Administration, and which we are following today. You can see the drug development process. We have discussed the drug development process, preclinical studies, animal studies, about 3 to 6 years, and the phase 1 to 3 studies carrying about 5 to 9 years, and then the post-marketing surveillance. You can see 15 to 20 years of exercise going on for developing a new molecule. So you can see how rigorous the FDA is in approving the in the approval system of the drug. You can see how rigorous the FDA is, how it approves the drug after such a rigorous exercise. And finally, the drug is then authorized for marketing, and it is given the license for marketing. So you can see how rigorous it is. And this is the framework that we have of the drug development process, how the new drug is introduced, and how we have the exercise of having a watch, and how the adverse drug reaction monitoring plays a very important role. Now these are the different list of drugs which are causing different organ toxicity. So you are very well aware about isoniazid, pyrazinamide, this antitubercular drug causing hepatotoxicity, different analgesics and aminoglycosides causing nephrotoxicity, ototoxicity, then ocular toxicity. You know, chloroquine causes the retinopathy. Ethambutol is causing the optic neuritis. So different drugs, they are causing different organ toxicity. And this long list is there. Now, these are the 30 most prevalent adverse drug reactions. This literature is 30 most prevalent adverse drug reaction. This, I was just going through some literature search, and then I got through that meta-analysis of 200 most commonly used drug. Out of the 200 most commonly used drug, this was the 30 most prevalent adverse drug reaction which was reported. So you can see it is delineated, different adverse drug reactions, and the mechanism of this adverse drug reaction, the possible primary mechanism of the adverse drug reaction, they have been delineated as either to be on target, off target, or they could be cytotoxic reaction. And the second possible mechanism they have categorized into immune mediated reaction or the idiosyncratic reaction. So I have already told you that immune mediated reaction, allergic reaction, and idiosyncratic reaction, that is genetically mediated reaction. These two reactions I've told you, I've categorized them into Bézier reaction, isn't it? So you can understand that those reactions which are shown here, that is, they are marked as 2. So Bézier reaction is marked as 2. So you can see those reactions are marked as 2. Whereas those reactions which are marked as 1, these are basically on target, off target, and cytotoxic reaction. We are already aware about the immune mediated reaction, how they take place, and we are also aware about the idiosyncratic reaction, isn't it? Now let us see what is this on target, off target, and cytotoxic reaction. Just by one example is we can understand. Now, this on-target adverse drug reaction is basically these are related to the kinetics and dynamics of the drug, as well as they could be drug interactions. And the best example of on-target adverse drug reaction is the example of the H1 antihistaminic drug. You know, H1 antihistaminic drug, what they do? They will target the H1 receptor in the peripheral tissues. That means in the blood vessels, or they will target in the smooth muscles, isn't it? So this is the peripheral tissue where they target H1 antihistaminic drugs. Now this H1 antihistaminic drug, this can, because they are lipid soluble drug, they can also cross the blood-brain barrier, and they can also affect the H1 receptors in the brain. So there what they will cause? They will cause the drowsiness. So drowsiness is caused by the H1 antihistaminic drug. This is a on-target adverse drug reaction, isn't it? On target means it is a H1 antihistaminic, so it will act on the peripheral tissue, H1 receptor, as well as it will also cross the blood-brain barrier and affect H1 receptors in the brain. So this is a part of the on target adverse drug reaction. Then there is another type, that is the off target adverse reaction. See, these new terms are coming, and these terms also we must be acquainted with, because we have a basic understanding of the mechanism of adverse drug reaction. So we have that understanding in the background, so we can understand this very well. What is off target adverse drug reaction? This is off target. Off target means the name itself suggests that the adverse drug reaction can occur when a drug interacts with an unintended receptor. Now you know that the H1 histamine is there, it will act with the H1 receptor only, isn't it? Now for off-target adverse drug reaction, the best example is you are giving a beta-2 agonist drug for treating the bronchial asthma, isn't it? Now this beta-2 agonist drug, some dose has increased or whatever it is, it goes and also stimulates the beta-1 receptor in the heart. So you will get the increase in the heart rate, because you know beta-2 agonist drug, they are sympathomimetic drugs, isn't it? So because they are sympathomimetic drug, and because of many times, you know, when you increase the dose of a drug, the selectivity is lost. So beta-2 agonist, earlier it was acting only on the beta-2, now it has gone to an unintended receptor. So instead of beta-2, it is now going to an unintended receptor, that is, it is going into the beta-1 receptor in heart and causing the increase in the heart rate. So this is the best example of a off-target adverse drug reaction. And another example of a off-target adverse drug reaction I want to give, so that you will find it very interesting, that what is this off-target adverse drug reaction? There is a drug known as terfenadine. You know, this terfenadine drug, this is withdrawn from the market. Why? Because it led to fatal arrhythmias, isn't it? Fatal arrhythmias took place. So what happened? This terfenadine is a H1 antihistaminic drug. So it is acting on the H1 receptor. This is an intended receptor where it has to act, isn't it? Now terfenadine, instead of acting on the H1 receptor, it is going and acting on a off target. Off target means it is acting on the potassium channel. That is an unintended receptor. So this is mechanism based adverse drug reaction. Also you can understand that off target means beyond the H1, now it is going and affecting the potassium channel, that is unintended receptor, that is the potassium channel in an unintended tissue, that is it is going and affecting the potassium channel in the heart and causing the fatal arrhythmias. So this is a example of a off-target adverse drug reaction occurring by terfenadine, so much so that it has led to the withdrawal of the terfenadine. The drug is withdrawn now from the market. And last but not the least, let us see what is this cytotoxic reaction. Cytotoxic reaction is that reaction, you know, most of the drugs, they get metabolized and you get the inactive metabolite. Now, when you get an inactive metabolite, it is okay. But drug like paracetamol, the stores of the glutathione, it is metabolized, the metabolites. So if the stores get depleted because you are giving a higher dose of the paracetamol, so the glutathione stores are depleted, and this toxic metabolite of the paracetamol, now it will lead to, it will affect the cells of the liver. It may lead to hepatic necrosis or hepatic fibrosis. And so this type of cytotoxic reactions can take place. So if it is an inactive metabolite, it is well and good. But if a metabolite is reactive, if there is a production of a reactive or a toxic metabolite, or it is an unstable metabolite, then that will lead to the cytotoxic reaction.